Welcome to Vital 100 Wellness with Dr. Bob, the podcast designed to take your health to the next level.
Again, Dr. Bob here on another podcast that is giving you topics that are so critical for your overall health. Today, I'm going to talk about the importance of digestion. Now, there are so many things out there about how to really improve your health, what to do, physical activity, sleep, all these kind of things. But really, health begins in the first part of taking in food and digesting it. And so many people have dysfunctional digestion, and we're going to go over those, that they don't really get good health begin right from the start. So we're going to go over the whole issues and the topics of digestion and how you can correct those very easily. Now, digestion really is, should I say the gastrointestinal system is where the outside world meets the inside world, where we take in food and all of a sudden it has to digest and be brought into the bloodstream to be effective. So it's where the outside world meets the inside world. So dysfunction in the gastrointestinal system, and we're going to go over each of those, is very critical in preventing or treating diseases, illnesses, and where you can make some very easy corrections if you know what to look for. So the process of digestion begins in the mouth. Digestion is where you take in food, you chew it, and you mix it with saliva, and it goes down the esophagus into the stomach. In the stomach, you have to have good hydrochloric acid, good digestive enzymes to be able to break apart the food into its elemental constituents, so that in fact these elemental constituents or basic nutrients can be absorbed and gotten into the bloodstream to be carried to the rest of the body and to the cells, so every cell can do its thing. Now, the beginning of digestion, as I said, begins in the mouth, where we have to chew. So many people don't chew their food. I was guilty of that many years until I realized how important it is to completely chew your food. And if you don't have good functioning teeth and jaws, you're not going to fully begin that first important step in digestion. You also need to be able to combine it with saliva, which continues on the digestive process. Many people don't get enough saliva, or they're very dehydrated. They don't produce the saliva necessary to begin that step. Once those first steps are initiated, the chewing of the food, the mixing with saliva, it's passed down through the esophagus into the stomach. Now, there is a little valve, or we call it a sphincter, the cardiac sphincter, that separates the esophagus from the stomach. One of the things that many people suffer from, especially as you get older, is a deficiency in digestive enzymes, a deficiency in hydrochloric acid. And what happens is, when you don't get that next step of digestion in the stomach occurring adequately, you get reflux of that food and the partially digested enzymes back into the esophagus. This is what we call GERD, G-E-R-D, or heartburn. That's what happens, is that undigested food and digestive enzymes gives you heartburn when it's put back up into, or emitted back up into, the esophagus. And they call it heartburn because it's in the area of the heart, and people think that they're getting a heart attack, that kind of thing. Well, one of the greatest disservices by medical industry is that people think that when you get heartburn, that you need to neutralize the digestive enzymes and the hydrochloric acid. So they take what's called, one of the drugs is PPI, proton pump inhibitors, or antacids. And in fact, you need more acidity, more digestive enzymes to keep that food in the stomach. So I recommend to many people, I take it myself, digestive enzymes with hydrochloric acid when I eat at the beginning of every meal to begin that digestion. And that's very important because it prevents the reflux of these partially digested foods and acids into the esophagus, where we have that ongoing heartburn, or what we call GERD. And so it's very important to prevent that. Not to take the not to take the antacids, but to take digestive enzymes so you get better digestion. So it's very important in the stomach, to start getting the food digested and absorbed into the bloodstream. So, and within the stomach, very important that we get as much digestion going on there with adequate digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid. What ends up happening too is, once that process has gone along well, another sphincter or another valve, cardiac sphincter or the the next sphincter that allows food, digested food, into the the small intestine, where further digestion and absorption happens. Now, one of the very common things that occurs is that the stomach, but also the small intestine, starts to leak undigested foods into the bloodstream. This is called leaky gut. And what ends up happening when you start getting undigested foods leaking back into the bloodstream, what ends up happening is, first of all, you don't get the benefit of the digested nutrients because they are undigested. They're not completely digested. And so the body can't use these. The other thing that starts developing is that your immune system reads these undigested food particles as foreign materials. What ends up happening then is that your immune system reads them as foreign and starts to develop allergies. This is where very many people start to get allergies to foods. They have highly sensitivity to many things that are should be good nutrients, but they don't get them fully digested, and as such, they develop sensitivities. Many things the body's immune system develops sensitivities to are things like dairy, wheat, eggs, and a number of other things. Highly sensitive people are just not getting nutrients into the rest of their body, and must start by two things. They must start by getting better digestion, complete digestion, but also they need to repair the lining of not only the stomach, but the small intestine, and after the small intestine, the large intestine. They need to repair that. There are many things that can help repair that, a slippery elm, but the thing that I like to use with my clients is something called glutamine. Glutamine repairs the leaky gut, repairs the lining of the digestive system so that you get full digestion and not get improper absorption of undigested foods. The other thing that leaky gut also unfortunately does or leads to is that you get toxins and also bacteria, very bad microbes into the bloodstream, and this causes is the beginning of some really unfortunate illnesses and diseases. So very important there as far as getting full digestion and proper absorption when the food is digested. A couple of other things that are important in digestion are, one is the microbiome. This is the good bacteria that so many people have not been able to restore, because that is part of the process of digestion and absorption. The other thing that good bacteria or probiotics or our microbiome is that it keeps bad bacteria. It keeps unhealthy viruses, yeast, funguses at bay because it competes with them. So it's important to not only continue to restore the good bacteria and restore the microbiome, especially if you've been on antibiotics. One of the first questions I ask my clients is, have they been on antibiotics and are they restoring the microbiome on a regular basis? There are many supplements that help restore microbiome, but the important things are sourdough and fermented foods, which have a high level of probiotics, good bacteria, but also supplementation is very important. And also eating a wide variety of vegetables and fruits are very critical to get a wide variety of different organisms that are going to help the body. It's the microbiome, actually, when we travel, the microbiome can change. If we travel from one country to another, the microbiomes are different, and it can cause disruption of the whole digestive system. So when you travel, and when you have regular function, or you take antibiotics, or you have other unhealthy lifestyle choices, you need to continue to restore that microbiome. So supplementation, fermented foods. I personally like to take, and I take on a regular basis, sauerkraut, which is loaded with good bacteria. So very important part of that. Now, one other critical thing with respect to digestion is that about 70% of our immune system, which fights infections, diseases, the 70% of the immune system is around the gut. And so if you're getting leaky gut, if you're getting improper digestion, if you're getting taking in of toxins like non-organic foods, which have things like glyphosate, if you're doing a number of things that are not healthy in digestion, then you are going to compromise the immune system. So very important to be able to supplement with digestive enzymes, with hydrochloric acid when you eat, especially elderly. I myself have to take it on a regular basis with every meal, and also to restore the microbiome and to help repair the lining of the gastrointestinal system to get good digestion. So it's important to understand how critical your digestion is. Not only is it important to select good foods at the grocery store and prepare them in the right way, that's a whole different topic. But to be able to understand when your digestion is being compromised, whether it's what you're doing in the mouth, proper chewing, whether it's getting proper saliva mixing with that, whether it's getting the food into the stomach where proper nutrition is being conducted and not getting that reflux, very important there. And then getting good microbiome, good integrity of the lining of the gastrointestinal system so that you can indeed digest proper nutrients, get them to the cells and into the bloodstream so that you prevent illness from happening. So it's very critical that you get good nutrients in. So many diseases and illnesses start right there. And because it's so simple to get good digestion, people ignore it and don't realize how important that is. The nice thing is you don't need drugs to be able to correct these things. It's something you can take control of yourself. So I leave you with the fact that don't underestimate the importance of digestion. If you're not chewing properly, if you're getting acid reflux, if you're getting improper elimination, if you're developing allergies, these are all indications that you're not getting proper digestion and you need to correct it to begin the process of health. I can't overemphasize how critical it is to begin right at the beginning with health, where the outside world meets the inside world. You've got to take, you've got to really truly appreciate how important that is and take the steps to get proper digestion, nutrition, and absorption of nutrients. I hope this helps. And again, it's an easy problem to correct, a very important process in our body. Please remember to enjoy the journey. Dr. Bob, until the next podcast.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Vital 100 Wellness with Dr. Bob. Be sure to visit our website at vital100wellness.com for more ways to listen and to explore additional health resources. If you have any questions for Dr. Bob or feedback and suggestions for the podcast, you can email us at info@vital100wellness.com.